Just a simple point this day as we prepare ourselves for Christmas, just a few weeks away. All kind of provoked by a question that's really on my mind, always. With this scene, the greatest of scenes, you could say, the single most important scene in the history of humanity. For if Mary says no, and she could have said no, then you and I, as far as we know, would have no hope. So what makes it possible for Mary to say yes? How is it that she can respond to an angel with this news? Behold, I am the handmaid of the Lord. Do to me whatever you want. I'm always struck by the fact that in almost every artistic depiction of the Annunciation, Mary is shown, when Gabriel comes to her, on her knees with the Bible in front of her. I always think that's striking. I think Mary is able to say yes. Mary is able to surrender because she is a woman of the Scriptures. She trusts God. She's a woman of the Scriptures. She knows that God is faithful. She knows that nothing is impossible for him. She knows that all that he has done down through the history for the people of Israel. And because she knows it, when Gabriel comes to her and asks her if she will say yes, she says yes because she knows God. Do you? Do I? Something that is worth reflecting in these days in light of what we just heard. How does one become a Christian? How does a person become a Christian? Are you a Christian by birth? No. There's only one way you become a Christian, only one. You and I have to make a decision to follow him. Now, part of that means that you get baptized, but we can't rely too much on externals of our faith, crucial, as important as they are. There must be an internal assent, if you will. We have to choose to follow Jesus, because a Christian is a disciple of Jesus, and a disciple is someone who follows another. But how can you and I possibly make a decision to follow someone if we don't know them? How can I get to know anybody unless I spend time with them? You can't. And one of the problems we face today is that so many of us are just biblically illiterate. We don't, like Mary does, find ourselves daily in his word. And since we're not daily in his word, we don't know with a conviction that he is faithful, that he is good, that he is merciful, that he hasn't promised me a life that is easy. We don't know with every fiber of our being that nothing, absolutely nothing, is impossible for him. So in the next couple of weeks of Advent, some may be kind of frantically running around trying to do some last-minute shopping. I encourage us to just kind of pump the brakes a little bit, imitate Our Lady in the art of pondering, of looking, of reflecting, of meditating. Perhaps above all on this passage that we heard in Luke's gospel. So one thing we might want to do this week is to ask Mary to accompany us as we dive into this passage. Maybe a few minutes every morning or night before we go to bed, reading Luke chapter 1, verses 26 through 38. Perhaps then Mary can teach us how God is faithful, to teach us the courage to say yes, which can only come if we know him. So let Mary help you to get to know him. When you put up your mangers, just take a minute or two or three to just stare at him, who is lying there in a trough for us. Who could be more worth getting to know than the God who has done all that he has done for us, for whom nothing is impossible, who has become man, who has triumphed over sin and death, who is our hope?